focus.
Yeah. It's been a minute, but we're back with the knowledge drop. What's going on, everybody? This is Focus from the Flow Mo crew, bbodojo.com and Cypher Studio, Finland representing. Interesting times we are living, of course. Paris Olympics going down next week as fast breaking. We already had the opening ceremony, mad controversy all around the globe, and dope skills on all disciplines of all sports. And at the same time, we have a new course open at the dojo. Why not Move Like Music course opened up? So go and check out bbodojo.com. Get involved. Might as well join the email list while you're at it to stay inspired. We have a dope guest today. B-boy Mounir, all the way from France, is going to tell us how is France doing right now among the madness. And of course, he's going to speak a little bit about his experience as far as a battle cat and also a coach of Team China these days. So let's go back and forth and see what comes out. Let's dig his brain a little bit and see what's happening in France. Bonjour, Mounir. How's it going? Ça va?
Bonjour, Focus. Oh, good, and you?
Oh, good over here. I'm doing excellent. Slept good. Had a gym in the morning. I was up at 8 o'clock. Hit the gym and did a leg workout. Leg day today, so I wobbled the stairs up. Feeling good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
Same here. We're doing well.
Good man. Good to hear. How is France doing right now? Opening ceremony done. A couple of days of sports, all different fields and such. What is the atmosphere waiting for breaking in France?
Well, everything is great. It's a huge summer for France. Having Olympics, we've been like talking about it for like almost a decade, and concerning breaking, it's been like more than 5 years now. So we have been waiting for it. So everything started. Now I'm not really in Paris, so I'm cool. It's quiet over here. We are preparing ourselves pretty much, but I've seen that most b-boys and b-girl delegation are already in Paris enjoying their time getting ready. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It's been so nice to follow everybody's, all the coaches, all the athletes. Some are there at the boat at the ceremony, celebrating, shooting stuff with all the superstars of other sports, and some are like, "Nah, I'm not going. We're still training." So there's this electricity in the air of like, "Fuck the opening ceremony. I'll be back in the lab until the day of," and it's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting
it's
next
a
week.
it's a
We'll
choice. I
see.
think it's a point of view. Like we didn't go ourselves neither. We were practicing. I didn't even watch the opening ceremony. I think I started to watch like the last moments of it when we went back from practice. So no, we stayed in practice. But I saw a lot of people enjoying in the boat, and I think it was a wonderful experience for all the people who joined it. For us, we actually, it's you. I think you either watching the Olympics or competing the Olympics, but I'm not a fan of doing both.
Yeah, I feel you. I see. And of course, the actual day is gonna dictate of how it's supposed to go and what was the best choice to do. I'm sure amazing memories for the people who went and such.
Yeah,
Cool
everybody
things.
are
I'm not
different.
coming,
They have a
unfortunately. Of course, of
oh
course. I'm not coming, unfortunately, but I'll be here at the studio in Helsinki doing the commentary for Finnish national TV. So I'll be talking shit
oh
for
that's
both days,
nice.
Friday
That's
and
nice.
Saturday. Cool. First
It's
time
gonna
for
be great.
everything.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes,
Educate
sir.
people. It's
What are
gonna
your
be a great
expectations for
opportunity.
next week? What kind of expectations you have for
Ah,
next week?
we go to the Olympic Village next week. I kind of already experienced that at the Asian Games last year because Asian Games was very massive compared to the European Games or the Pan America. Like Asian Games is very huge. There is actually more athletes at the Asian Games than at the Olympics. So the Village Olympic we had there was pretty nice. So it's good because I really loved it. Sharing with different countries, different sports, seeing different kind of athletes was really a great experience for us. So I really can't wait to get back to the Olympic Village, the real one, this one in Paris. I've seen a couple of footages already. Some people complain about the bed, some people complain about the food, so that was funny. I think the good thing for us to arriving a little bit later, everything will be fixed, everything will be pretty much normal, and I really can't wait to see all the delegation at the Olympic Village. That will be the first step.
Yeah, for sure. I got a small taste of it too. I was judging the Asian Championships before the Asian Games,
Yeah,
and
you like
already
it.
over
You
there,
like
I
that.
think they used the same like the same stadium.
Exactly the
You had
same
the separate
venue and the same.
line, separate
True.
line at the
Exactly.
airport for the people coming in, and the whole Olympic
Yeah,
Village was
wasn't
huge.
it was
I
an
never seen
even
nothing like
test
that.
actually. It was an even test for the Asian Games. That's the difference I think between Asia and Europe. Like Paris didn't have any even test. Like the Olympic Village just opened like a few weeks ago, right before. So of course there were some like technical issues or like things that was not really comfortable or whatever. In Asia, in China, everything was ready because they had a lot of different world championship, Asian championship in different categories, different sports. So they really got ready. The venues were ready. The Olympic Village were ready. The logistics was ready. So that's what it was a great experience for us. But I'm pretty sure that now everything is great in Paris. It's the
Yeah,
Olympics. It's really huge.
going in without testing is risky, of course, but the whole
Ah,
world
it's
is
really
watching,
risky.
so gotta make it on point.
They
Can
have
you
to.
tell a little bit about the preparation of your team and your role in the team, Team China, as well, for the people who are listening and don't maybe know from the past?
Actually, I started this program almost 3 years ago, more than 2 years and a half ago. We started from scratch. It was the very first program in China. It was pretty much difficult at the very beginning because China was still under strict COVID restrictions. So the thing is that I could not go to China the 6, 7 first months. So I built a team of coaches with me to go to train the team. Freeze from Sweden, Sambo from Belgium. A year later, Nabil from Rockforce Vagabond also joined me, and Freeze was the only one who was able to go to China before they closed every border. So he spent 3 months there, and I was working remotely with him, and after 3 months he had to come back, and for the next 4 months we worked totally remotely. So it was really really complicated, so we decided to build our summer camp in Europe. If we could not go to China, then Chinese will come to Europe. So that's why we built our first summer camp 2 years ago, 2022. So actually it was the very first time for all the all the athletes that went out of China and competing out of China, except Xrain, who had a little experience at the Youth Olympic Games, but he was very very young. But none of them never competed overseas, so it was really really a great experience for all of us. We went to IBE, to Outbreak, World Bebop Classic, like World Battle in Porto, and we stayed for 3 months. After this, the situation in China got better, and so everything was back to normal. But the 7 first months was very, very, very complicated. But we managed to find a good way to keep up, and I think it served on the long term. Now, 2 years and a half later, I think everybody knows about the Chinese team, about the accomplishment. 671, later Lightning, X-Rain, and Yingzi. So we're very, very, very happy because we really started from scratch. Except people like you and me who have been in China, nobody knew Chinese b-boys and bigger. Nobody know the Chinese scene. It's a pretty much big scene. It's a very big scene in China that really grew a lot the last 15 years. I started to go to China in 2007. So I saw the scene and I saw the country growing and evolving the last 15 years. But outside of China, none of them never competed mostly. So nobody know the Chinese scene and the Chinese b-boys bigger. So the first step was to put China on the breaking map. That was the very first step. We didn't expect to go that far that fast because with the amount of time we had, 2 years and a half before the Olympics, it seemed almost impossible at the very beginning. But this is what I like. I love challenges. I knew I had the right condition to work. I had great potential, great people. Well, at the end, everything went very well. We were very, very happy. Now we have 3 athletes qualified. So that's a great achievement for China. So for us, we won already. So now we have no pressure. I mean, who expected China to be at the Olympics? Who expected China to be ranking number one in the bigger category or having Lightning qualified? Nobody could expect that 2 years ago. So for us, the victory is already here. So now, of course, we're gonna go and try to get whatever we can get. We're doing our best for this, but this first step, we went a lot further than we expected at the very beginning.
Amazing work, man. This past 2.5 years, the whole world has seen what your work has been about, what the other coaches' work has been about, and of course what China's been about. So going to events like IBE or Europe or Outbreak Europe or such, then the present has been crazy. Everybody's like, what's going on? Like it's a takeover right now. So big up for the amazing work. And I remember speaking to Freeze in IBE last year, and he was talking to me about the first trips after restrictions. He had to
Yeah.
stay on the lockdown for like a month before getting to actually work with them in a hotel room by himself in the
The
quarantine.
situation was really
Both
crazy. Like
ways.
at that
That's
time in
nuts.
China, to get in, you had 3 weeks quarantine in a hotel and then 1 week quarantine in the city. So when Freeze went to China, actually, I could not even go to China. We didn't have any flight from France or anywhere else. So when we had one opportunity to Freeze to go, um, he did something really amazing. First, he totally trusted me on this because we didn't know where we were going, because the program hadn't started. I didn't go to China before to fix everything. So I had to trust my team in China, my Chinese team, and Freeze had to trust me on this process. And what he did, actually, I have to say, like, I don't think many people will have done it. Like, really, what he did was amazing. Went to China without knowing exactly what's going to happen and what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, spending 3 weeks in a tiny room in China that you don't even choose. Like at least we could have take a big room or something comfortable, but we didn't have the choice. They put you in a hotel they choose themselves. So it was really really tough, but we managed to do it, and we had a great experience. So I think learning the hard way is the best way. On the long term journey, we started the hard way, so everything else seemed very easy after that.
Yeah, a lot of people talk, but doing is the way when you get the change. Has there been a lot of cultural differences as far as working with the Chinese team, and what is your experience as a European coach in another country?
Well, actually, there is some cultural differences, of course, but it was also my role to adapt myself to the Chinese culture and for them to adapt themselves to my vision of breaking. And I think it was not that difficult, really. First, because I knew China pretty well. I never spent that much time in China like I'm spending now, but I knew the country, I knew the people, I had friends there, and so I was pretty much confident. Also, I know the Chinese education and their behavior and everything. So everything is really under protocol, strict protocol. They're really respectful about rules and everything. It's not always easy, either for them regarding me or even for me regarding them. But we never experienced any negative things, any situation, nothing. The things really went smooth. We had a lot of respect each other. We have a lot of trust on each other's, and so it made it very very easy. Yeah, at this point. And I think without this, we could we never could have achieved what we achieved within 2 years. From my experience, I never seen people growing that fast in the breaking scene. I never seen that before. So, and it only comes not only about the work that we have done with all the coaches, but also it I think the country itself and the peoples themselves, the dancers, um, the way they are, the way they treated us, the way they listen to you, they apply whatever you say, the way they trust you played a huge role, on this. Sometimes, when you coach people, some people are not coachable. They are not coachable. You got people who have a lack of confidence. You have people who have too much confidence. You have people who don't accept, when you guide them or whatever. And you have people who totally trust you and just follow you, even if they don't really understand at the moment, the purpose of what you're trying to say or do. But because they have this trust on you, they just keep going, along with you. And at the end, they finally realize, the reason behind this. But martial arts in China played a huge role for us. I always say that lightning comes from kung fu. His father is a kung fu master. He started
Mm.
with kung fu when he was very young, and this discipline and the education that the martial arts gave him, he applied it in breaking. You know, extreme the same. This guy he's the captain of this team, even if he's still very young, but he's so respectful. He's such a nice guy. It makes it very easy to work with such b-boys. And even when you have young big girls like Bigger Royal, or you have, of course, 671, or big girls like Yingzi, she's a little bit older, but she's still new and young in breaking. you know Even with all that talent, they understand, their lack of experience, their lack of knowledge, and they're willing to follow you. And so it makes it, at the end, a great experience, and we're really really having a great time all together. Like, we are really getting close each other.
Awesome. And that 2.5 years, that's a short time, like you said. In our time, B-boys coming up, B-girls coming up, you would have to take at least 10 years to be on a world level. So now
Exactly,
that
exactly.
time is condensed into like a quarter of it. And actually, I guess the
Actually,
working
they
ratio is
have been
different
dancing
then.
for at least 10 years. For some, Lightning is dancing for
Mm,
11 years. Easy is dancing for 12 years. 671 around like 8 years. So they have been dancing since a while, but they never traveled overseas. They never competing on the international level. They have a total lack of this kind of experience, and we know that time is something that you need. You can do anything else, but there is something that you cannot beat, and something you cannot speed up or slow down. It's time, and we need time.
exactly. Yes. Can you take us through some secret of what kind of training do you guys do over there in China? What's like a training camp like over there in China, for example? I've only heard rumors, but let's get it straight from the
Like
source.
what? Let's start
Uh,
here. Like what?
somebody told me that a regular training camp lasts 3 months instead of a week or weekend. So it's a long ass camp, and you can only leave to battle. That's the only way you can leave from the camp. That's all I know for this
So,
far. So what about
uh,
you?
ac- actually, the reality is that this program is an all year long program. It's not camps. It's not
Doesn't
camps at
stop.
all. This is
It's 365 camping.
yeah, it's a 365 camp. Exactly. This is the very first breaking dedicated program for the Olympics, the first in the world and the biggest in the world. Definitely. Other country only have camps. They don't have a fully dedicated program. France has a couple of athletes who are since only like less than 2 years in INSEP, which is the national training center for French teams in elite sports. But this kind of program doesn't exist in breaking yet. So the camps we have a winter camp, a spring camp, a summer camp. They are part of our yearly program. The athletes are with us all year long. They maybe probably just go back home for 1 month during the year. So they are fully dedicated. The camps, it allows us to get what we call our training team. So we have a kind of a B team, which are like youngest b boys, like Monkey Z. People saw him last year. B boy Quicksilver. We have a lot of B girls and B boy like Plus One and many more. They come with us. They are around like 15 people coming during the camps, and also we have the kids. Because actually, I'm in charge of the B boys, the B girls, and the kids. So during those periods, it takes between 2 and 3 months. We hold like almost 40 people, and every 2 weeks we have people who kind of leave the camp. We're trying to maintain a certain dynamic and certain expectations. And so after 2 weeks, you got like between one or two people, B boys and B girls, who are gonna leave the camp, and this will maintain everybody focus on the training and the progression. So it provide a lot of energy within the team. So we have the A team, the national team. They are 8 members, 4 B girls, 4 B boys. Um, the team involved from the first year to the second year because they have to qualify to get into the team. We have a national championship, and the result of the national championship will build the national team after that. So that's what the first year we only had 6 athletes. We had Baby Bull, big girl Baby Bull, which is she was more experienced, she was older, she was in the national team the first year, and the second year we had big girl Zian and big girl Dying instead of Baby Bull. So the team changed. We had 3 B boys, 3 B girls the first year. Actually, we had no, no, we had like we only had 2 B boys the first year and 3 B girls the first year, and then we had 4 B boys, 4 B girls the last 2 years. So we also had B-boy Fresh. We got into the team, and what happened is, like I said, China was still under strict restriction, and so not every B-boys and B-girls from China could compete at the national championship. Like Monkey Z was not able to compete to all the national championship battles, so he could not join the team after that. Bigger Royal could not join the team after that because sometimes they could not travel. So it was kind of difficult. At the end, we didn't have always the most potential B-boys and B-girls in the team, but with 671, with Yingzi, with X-Ray, and with Lice, we had the top four from China. But we had some people who had maybe more potential, maybe like Royal, like Monkey Z, and others that could have joined the team. But unfortunately, the situation in China didn't allow them to be part of every competition.
Got it, got it. And what is the actual training like? Like how many hours you work in a day and what kind of other things you do besides just breaking? If you can share some of those.
Yeah, actually, we train between 6 and 7 hours a day. It's split in two time, morning and afternoon, um, 6 times a week. So it's a pretty heavy program. They have a strong physical conditioning program. Um, in China, we have kung fu also classes. They have kung fu classes because my goal was to show the world the Chinese culture. We know, you and I, that since the very beginning, the traditional kung fu inspired a lot of b-boys, and especially the first generation who grew up with the famous 70s, 80s kung fu Chinese movies and reproduced a lot of moves that we've seen in those movies. And that's why now it's funny to see that when a Chinese is doing his own culture, his own things, it's called like some people might call him a biter or whatever, because people really don't realize where it comes from. And those moves are the Chinese traditional pure kung fu stuff that people and kids are learning, not in breaking. They have been doing it for years. They grew up like this. It's like you tell right now Russian b-boys stop doing some Russian step because b-boys were doing it early 90s or whatever. Yeah, but that's part of who we are. It's our culture. You know what I mean? So you took it from us, and now you want us to not use it. It doesn't make any sense. And so I think it will take time a little bit for people to understand the Chinese culture. Chinese is pretty new in the breaking scene, but we are talking about a country who has um, it's a great civilization, since centuries, long before Europe or whatever. And they have this strong background with them, and now they are willing to use it in breaking. And this is also for me one of my goals, because I always been also a huge fan of kung fu movies, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and many other when I was a kid. And I'm very happy to see them now spreading the word to the world, and getting back the real traditional kung fu stuff.
Exactly, yeah. I've been traveling in China a lot, and on a tour over there, sometimes you hear stories like, okay, this city invented paper. You're like, oh, and then this city invented ships thousands of years ago. I'm like,
Exactly.
wow, we used to have cell phones and rubber boats in our country, and that's pretty much it. So, next
No,
level
no. The
tradition, and
Chinese civilization is one of the oldest in the world. It's just that China took time to elevate themselves and become a global power. Uh, right now, for those who travel, for those who study a little bit politics or whatever, or finance or whatever, know that China is the future. And in breaking, China is definitely the future. And the amount of b-boys and big-girls in China is very huge. There is probably more b-boys and big-girls in China than we have in all Europe together. It's very massive. The amount of schools, hip-hop dance schools, breaking schools in every cities is very, very huge. We're talking about a population of 1,300,000 300 million people. It's 20 times France. You know what I mean? So that's massive. That's really massive, And they just
the
started
biggest
breaking.
scene in the world, yes, the biggest scene in the world, yes, and the
Definitely.
tradition of movement, expression, and art, like going to Shaolin
Oh,
Temple, seeing the lines of people training and drilling and learning the culture and tradition has been super inspirational for me as a breaker. So can't wait to
I've
see
seen a video
next
of
year and next week.
you and Crazy Leg. I've seen a video a long time ago of you and Crazy Leg doing some footwork stuff between temples and stuff. We've seen Bojing and Junior doing something similar. But in the
Yeah,
past, like, I grew up, in the 90s, and I remember Alien Ness using kung fu stuff. I remember a Flow Master using a lot of kung fu stuff, and many, many other b-boys, especially Style Elements later. I remember this video with Remind, Poe, and Crumbs. It inspired them a lot. And I think this is the reason why Crumbs never called any Chinese b-boy a biter when they did the head flip, because he knows where it comes from. He's the one who brought it to the b-boy scene. That's just a pure traditional kung fu move. you know it's great to see, that people realize now. And I was talking with Clearwork last week about this also, and he told me that some of his move came from kung fu movies as well. So the Chinese
straight up,
culture, that uh, for me, it's also good because we're learning a lot. You know, I'm also trying to
straight
teach them
up,
a lot,
yeah.
but actually I receive a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Go back to the first generation, second generations. That connection is straight, clear to be seen, and a lot of the OGs tell also taking movies moves and styles straight from kung fu. And you see Ken Swift in B Street doing the Python stuff. Well,
Exactly.
it's a kung fu move right away.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I
yeah, let's
understand for
see how
this
it's
new
gonna go.
generation. I understand that for this generation, it's a little bit more complicated to understand because everything is kind of blur now. You don't know who is what, who did what, when, and how. You know what I mean? So it's easy to call anyone a writer or this or that. But when you really know where things come from, knowledge is everything. I think for the way I see it, people will know shit, talk shit. That's it. You know?
Exactly. Yes. So next week, the big battles. Who are your predictions? You cannot tell anybody from China. Outside of Chinese team, who do you think has the best odds, men and women?
I don't pretend that we have any chance or whatever. Like I said, for me, we won, so I'm not gonna talk about China anyway. Um, when I see Victor, how strong he is, and we always been since the last 10 years with all the experience. He has, he's one of the biggest favorite for sure. Um, but I think this kind of competition can show also a lot of surprise for those who watch the Olympics. In many sports, we have many surprise. Like in judo, some of the very best from Japan just get out first round or like semifinal. Like really unexpected results and event can happen. But for me, of course, Victor is one of the biggest favorite. Um, Phil Wizard, definitely Mano with all his experience. But after what Hongten did at BC1 last year, we can really also expect him to do great. it's probably going to be his last competition, like real high level competition. And I think we all have to enjoy to see him on stage, because being on the top for so many years, like more than 20 years, it's really amazing. And soon, like we said, we cannot beat time. He's almost 40 years old. His whole generation is not going to compete at this level forever. So I'm trying also to enjoy to see all those people, who inspire so many generation still being there, still doing their things. I think he can also do great at the Olympics, and that will be I think something amazing for the B girls. We, of course, Amy is one of the top favorites. She's always giving her best and always staying on the top. I don't see any weaknesses in what she's doing. Mostly, Nika is growing very, very fast and doing great. So I think it's gonna be tough. It's hard to say, but there is here and there a couple of people who probably have a little advantage.
Yeah, I was checking out the local gambling website, and you can actually place your bets in breaking these days.
I'm not
And you
into
can see the
betting or whatever, so I don't notice.
you can see like the multipliers or whatever. If you see who has the best odds, then Victor had the best odds for guys, right? But for ladies, it was three people on the top. So 671, Ami, and Nika who had a four times multiplier. So if you place 100, and if one of those wins, then you get 400 back. But there's 16 competitors, 17 for the ladies. So the odds for your
I don't
winning is
bet,
not
so
like I
actually
said.
I don't know.
Anybody can. Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah,
of
yeah,
betting because
sure, sure.
we have good knowledge about the whole thing. But then again, anybody can take it, like you said, and there can
Anyone.
be
When you
so
see
much
the
prize.
groups, I mean, like when I see how group for the B-boys category, like getting a live from this group will be like already like almost gold. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
and anyway, the two that will not pass the top eight will be like always like top B-boy. So it's crazy. It's really, really
yeah.
crazy. But I can't wait to be
Well,
there and experience all that. It's gonna be
it's
huge.
gonna be a great show. Cool. What about after the Olympics? What's next for Monet? What's gonna happen after 10th of August?
Actually, I continue to be in China and continue my job. My role is not only to bring China to the Olympics, but it's to help the country to keep growing, and so I want to continue on this way. I'm also continuing my different programs, since like early 2010s. I've developed the motivational programs all around the world. So I'm going to continue to grow. I'm working with entrepreneurs, with athletes, with artists, whatever. And so I continue to develop programs, educational programs, motivational programs. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna continue this way, keep growing, trying to inspire people through breaking, through how experience, through hip hop, and everything. And so, of course, the Olympics is a huge opportunity to educate the world about what breaking and hip hop really is. I think everybody knows, but the Olympics is massive. It's massive, and it's gonna be a huge success. And for me, the most important is to kind of you know finish that circle. I brought breaking to the Olympics with Paris 2024. Now I'm trying to reach a medal. So for me, it's gonna be the best way to kind of close this chapter, and then we'll see what's next. But always trying to get our best.
That's what's up. The work don't stop. That's for sure. Thank you for your time.
Never.
Great talk, and we enjoy the show
Thanks
next
to you.
week.
It was a
Okay.
pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Perfect.
Thanks
Let's
to
stay in
you.
touch.
Keep doing
Enjoy.
the great job.
Peace. Good luck for the
See you.
team.
Thanks.
Later. Peace. Bye. Yeah, yeah. So there you have it, straight from the source. Next week, the big games going down in Paris. Wish good luck for Team China and everybody else competing. The level is crazy. Everybody else tuning in, head out to bbodojo.com, get my free footwork workshop over there, and enjoy the show next week, y'all. Coming up, more knowledge drops next week. Peace, peace.